So, just got done watching. I'm sure that was so loud to you it didn't sound like anything. It's my girlfriend, she always likes to make noises in the videos, as I'm sure most consistently watching people already know. So, we're going to be talking about the new episode of Fear the Walking Dead, which I did like better than last week's episode, which wasn't too hard to achieve, I don't think, because I was really hard on last week's episode. But this episode was pretty good, as I think we could kind of tell from the previews that it was going to be. Although the action-packed, how it looked in the preview, wasn't really what I majority liked about it. It was more of Strand, especially Strand, and Morgan's interactions, and just kind of Strand settling in the kind of character that he is, and or the kind of villain that he is now, right? So let's see. I got my notes here. I'm going to read off of them and go through the episode. So um, first off, it was kind of crazy and unbelievable, but I think this is just for Fear as a whole, all the people that they always just come across. It's kind of crazy just the amount of stragglers that they have in this area, that Strand is picking up the phone and, turning down, but I get, why. It's, you can't think too hard about it, but so yeah, he's picking up the phone, turning down a bunch of people, and I just love Strand's body language. He's a great villain. I made a video talking about how I didn't like him being a villain for this season, and granted, I'm glad it happened, as I've said before, but I think it happened later than it should have. But yeah, no, Coleman Domingo absolutely kills it as as a as a villain. His body language and everything, he turns everything that you like about his charisma and acting previously all the way up to a 10 for this, or even an 11. It's just really great, and it doesn't feel kind of like, he's just kind of putting on that too much. It's like he just does such a good job with it that you're like, yeah, no, it's just who he is, so and he's just fully accepting it now, so I love it. And he does that through little things. What I mean, the way he shoos away the phone, he drinks with his ring up, and he's like tossing around his cane, yeah. So anyway, so I have a note here. I said I get why Strand initially didn't let Morgan in. I know it was meant to seem like a really bad move on Strand's part, but at the same time, I thought it would have been a trap, like letting him in like it turned out to be anyway. So, I get where Strand was coming from on that. I know it sounds bad initially, but anyway, so he feels bad about it later on, I guess, and lets Morgan back in. But anyway, there's a funny line from Morgan in here where Morgan says, that's my baby. And it made me think of like Rick and Shane back in the first seasons of Walking Dead, where, Shane would kind of, say that Judith was his baby or whatever, just that kind of stuff. So it just sounded funny from Morgan. Let's see. The painting of Strand was great. I felt bad for the lady who painted it and got turned down. But yeah, I do like the symbolism with the painting. Strand doesn't like the man that he sees himself as now, and that's what makes him decide to let Morgan back in. So I do like the symbolism with the painting and how it comes back around at the end as well. So this is, I guess, the good kind of silly from Fear the Walking Dead, but it's fucking crazy. They really are still somehow not running out of new ideas in the Walking Dead universe. I'm talking about the Walker slingshot. I don't know what you call this thing. I think back in the medieval times or whatever, it was meant to throw like big stones, but they're throwing zombies with it. Not only zombies. Crazy. Just looks crazy. I don't doubt that it could, if it could throw a big rock, that it could throw a zombie, but it just looks so nuts. But they're not just zombies. They're nuclear infected zombies, so we really got to keep, raising the bar. Just nuts. But yeah, so that was so silly. But again, it's just like, I mean, at this point, it's whatever, At least they're trying new stuff and new ideas and new gimmicks, right? So yeah. Wow. Okay, and then they say a line in here that they leave through the tunnels. I don't think they've said that before, but that's how they're getting out of Strand's community, but it's through tunnels, through the tower. Wendell is actually alive. We see Wendell confirmed. So all that speculation that I had about, it's so weird that we haven't seen him, which it was. But no, he is alive. We do see him in this episode, and we get some funny lines from him I'll get to. I put a note down that said Alicia Debnam Carey, who plays Alicia, must be filming something else because we haven't seen her at all season, which is strange, but we do see her later on. But no, the funny line from Wendell, I like whenever we find out what Strand's been, how Strand sent Wendell's sister away, and Wendell's like, you did what? You did what? You sent her away? I just like how he had such a genuine reaction to that. I don't know. I liked it because it's like he did not expect Strand to be a bad guy at all. I like Strand's line when he's talking to the baby. He says, "I'm not your papa. I'm Victor Strand." He just kills it. All of his lines in this. And we get a little bit of insight. He's talking about how his dad never looked at him at all. I think he really gave a lot of life to that performance and that dialogue as well. I guess we get to kind of see. I don't know if we've gotten a peek into why Strand is the way he is yet, but I guess we can kind of assume it has something to do with his dad. Never really loved him, paid too much attention to him, so he had to kind of always be selfish, looking out for himself because his parents weren't going to, or his dad wasn't going to. Let's see. Yeah, so I like the twist with how Morgan poisoned him. I thought that was very dark thing for Morgan to do, but of course makes sense. If it wasn't Morgan, it was probably going to be somebody else. So Strand does have a change of heart, which I did genuinely believe. It didn't feel like, they're just doing it so they can come back on it. I believed it. I thought Strand was going to stay this way, and I could see how he would come to that conclusion, almost dying. Morgan saved him. But then, of course, seeing that the person that he didn't trust originally, kind of thinks, oh, my instincts were right all along, how he's thinking. So I did like that. I thought it fit very well. I wish we could have seen, again, now this is where I thought this was going to be more of an action-packed thing. I wish we could have seen Morgan take out the people out there with the slingshot. I wasn't really paying attention. I don't know what he did, but it was one of those big situation things that kind of resolved off screen. Maybe it was not that big of a deal, and like I said, it was just something that I wasn't paying attention that much to. But I would have liked to seen some conflict with that, like how that resolved itself. But again, maybe it's just something I missed. But yeah, so that action happened off screen. I think it's very silly, just a bit, that they need Grace's help, and that Grace was conveniently there at the last minute to save Morgan on the rooftop when Strand's about to execute him or throw him off the roof. Because everybody seems to have such a broad knowledge of how to survive in nuclear radiation when it's convenient, and then suddenly they don't know how to dispatch this, without Grace's help. But okay, whatever. And like I said, she just suddenly knew what was going on there to save Morgan at that moment. Strand is going to be like the Shane, and Rick is like the Morgan, like with the baby. Strand trying to take Mo from Morgan is kind of funny. And I did like Morgan's concern, even though it felt a little bit like crazy that Morgan would leave Mo with Morgan would leave Mo with Strand to begin with. I did like a lot of their dialogue there, and Morgan wanted, like, keep talking to me, Victor, to make sure that the baby is okay in the elevator scene, and then Strand talking about Alicia and how he feels like Alicia wouldn't want him to be the one to go looking for her. I do like that stuff. A little bit melodramatic as it can be. I do understand where Strand's coming from with the stuff he's saying. So let's see. So yeah, Strand gets the painting back and takes a long, hard look at who he really is and accepts it at the end. It was so fucking cringe the way whenever we get Alicia revealed. It was so fucking cringe the way she comes out of the tent full masked up for some reason. just to take it off. It was such a reveal for the audience. I can't even fucking believe it, how bad that was. And nobody looked at that shit and was like, all right, let's do that again. Let's do that differently. I would sacrifice the surprise to the audience for something that was less like that. That was just wow. I mean, usually, always when returning characters come out to shows, they do something like that. But that one just man, it needed a rework, re-edit, refilm, or something, man. Okay. Yeah, but I did the dialogue kind of made up for it between Morgan and Alicia, where Alicia's like, "You look like shit," and Morgan's like, "Well, I'll be honest with you, I feel like shit." That was funny. Morgan's been kind of sassy this season. I like it. So yeah, and then it looks like the wrestler girl. I mean, maybe they didn't want to have her back on. I forget the actress's name now. Whatever, the wrestler girl who was with Dwight and Sherry in that really crazy, I think, pretty fun episode. She's not with them now. Please don't tell me this is another guest starring character that comes in and then leaves, just because they were there for that one episode. I would have liked for her to stick around. I was surprised that she did at the end of that episode, but why have it look like she was going to team up with Dwight and Sherry just to go away? So yeah, I hope that she's actually just there somewhere in the community and we didn't see her. But yeah, I do like the explosive cliffhanger as well. Though it'd be a little bit silly that those three Wallhers are suddenly, unless somebody actually sent them that way, I don't know, a little convenient it is that they're there. But yeah, it was cool, with Morgan saying no, don't, and then them all go running for it. And we get to see that come to fruition, what those people were talking about at the tower. So yeah, Strand's a great villain. I think he's really what elevated this episode for me. Him dealing with his inner conflict, and yeah, a few bumps in the road here and there throughout the episode, but definitely an improvement from last week. Fears like that, he'll throw you some shit, and then he'll throw you some gems. And all in all, it's just kind of a mixed bag, for the most part. So, yeah, so that's everything I got for this episode. Let me know what you thought about it, and I will see you in the next one.